Hi, I'm Shailja Mittal, founder and CEO of Qurex. So sexual health is a matter of global concern, where close to 2 billion people globally are suffering with sexual dysfunctions. If we come to Indian demography, close to, rather more than 200 million people have already said that they have sexual dysfunctions. But the sad part is that out of these 200 million people also only 5% of them seek treatment. Why? Because of three major challenges they face: awareness, authenticity, and anonymity. We all know that in India, how many of us are aware about sexual dysfunctions? And if they are, they don't get authentic treatment. And if they get authentic treatment, they don't know whether the treatment and the details around it would be kept private or not. So I think we need to come together and solve these three challenges to actually solve sexual dysfunction. So where the global market size of sexual treatment is around $41.5 billion and India's market being close to $3 billion, we are at a very sweet spot. If we actually see that what India was 10 years down the line around mental health and where we are, there's a drastic change. 10 years down the line, or I would say rather 5 years down the line, if anybody would have said that I'm going to a psychiatrist or a psychologist, people would have actually judged the person. But now it's changing. Even teenagers are encouraged by their parents to actually see a psychologist if they are facing difficulty in balancing their moods, emotions, and things. So similarly, what I have seen that recently even the sexual health market is actually changing. People are now accepting that they are sexually dissatisfied or they need solution for it. And that is why I think the mental health, the growth of mental health and the growth of telemedicine post-COVID has actually pushed sexual health also. So there's a very important thing I think which we all should know, that sexual health is a combination of three major aspects of an individual: emotional health, body vitals, and the kind of relationship one shares with himself, herself, or a partner. So till now, to treat these three aspects, therapy and medicines have actually played a very great role in treating sexual dysfunctions. But thanks to all our doctors and researchers, lately surgeries and procedures have come up which actually give hope to people who have actually lost their hopes with all the treatments. So surgeries like penile implants, vaginal rejuvenation, or even shockwave therapy kinds, they actually treat people permanently also, or at least give them a way to function normally in their sexual life. Post-COVID, people are openly talking about the mental problems or the challenges they are facing. Even I have seen parents who are encouraging kids to go to a psychologist if they are not able to balance their emotions. So this is a great boon which has happened after COVID, that people can actually take treatment anonymously and with the privacy of their home. And that even supports sexual health. Because in sexual health also, anonymity is a big problem people face. And through the use of telemedicine, people who are suffering with sexual dysfunction can actually connect with the best of the sexual health expert with the privacy and anonymity of their home. So there have been many studies around sexual health and the impact it has on an individual and I would say the economy of the country. So about the recent study which happened in year 2021 by Johns Hopkins and some other researchers, there was a study done for people in the age range of 40 to 70 years who are working in corporates. The results showed that when we compare people with erectile dysfunction and people without erectile dysfunction, people with erectile dysfunction were reported to be absent 200% more than people without erectile dysfunction. Now just imagining the kind of impact it has on the economy if we take the data from all the corporates. Another study by National Library of Medicine in America, it proves that close to 70% people who have cardiac issues or diabetes, their first marker is ED. So just imagine if we actually address the issue of ED when it starts, how many cardiac arrests we can actually save. So if I talk about the impact of sexual health on relationships, According to a recent study of TOI, there has been a divorce reported as 30% cases just because of sexual dysfunctions. And a recent study which has been done by us, from 6,000 respondents who are working from tier 1 and tier 2 cities, close to 60% of them agreed that they are working on 50% or lower productivity levels just because of bad sexual health and the kind of impact it has had on their mental health and their self-confidence. So just imagine, what are these sexual dysfunctions doing to one's own self-confidence, their self-respect, their self-worth? So I think this is something which we all need to address. So I think a big gap which we all as a society need to come together and fill is the education and awareness at each level. When I say each level, a child needs to be sexually educated the moment the child turns 3 or 4 years old, and actually the child, that same person needs to have the sexuality awareness even till the age of 80. Obviously, the kind of education and awareness changes. So for example, the child at an age of 3 or 4 years just need to understand what is safe and unsafe touch. The same child, when grows up to an age of 8 to 13 years, need to understand the kind of changes happening in their body, especially the sexual and reproductive organs, and what are the impact and how to handle them, how to maintain the hygiene. Similarly, the same child, when grows to a teenage, the child needs to understand the importance of consent. And when they grow up as even more adults, when they actually get into a relationship with their partner, they need to understand, apart from consent, how to handle sexual emotions, how to handle sexual health, what is wrong, what is right, where to ask for help, and where to understand that it is okay to have a sexual problem. Similarly, those same people who actually then age from 30, 40, 50 years, they also need to understand that it is okay to have sex. It's okay, it's good to have sex at every age of life. And it's okay to have sexual problems, and it is normal to seek for treatment as we seek treatment for other issues when we age. My first startup was kicked in 2017, which was around women empowerment. So it was India's first app-based women-driven cab service, through which we could luckily uplift the lives of around 80 women who are underprivileged, and we could actually safeguard 1,000 kids running every day on Delhi NCR roads. Post that, I started my research on sexual health in 2021, triggered by a small incident in my close friend's life where they were getting divorced because of an unsolved sexual dysfunction, which actually intrigued me from inside, that how could we not solve a health problem in this era? And that is where I started researching on this topic and started Qurex in my head. Finally, we kicked the operations of Qurex in the same year, 2023, April. A major puzzle which we have finally solved in sexual health, and it is actually supported by all the clinical sexual medicine experts across the globe, is that if sexual health has to be treated, it has to be treated with a combination of therapy and medicines. And only medicines can never solve a sexual dysfunction. And that is the only reason we have best of the therapists and best of the clinical doctors treating sexual health on Qurex. Since the inception of Qurex, we are already treating close to 1,000 patients in the last 4 months. Going forward, we plan to treat 12,000 more patients in next 12 months. And as we know that sexual health has a major impact in working people, and that is why we are now approaching corporates to make sexual health as an important and a mandatory part of their EAP programs. Also, it's very important to actually touch the grassroots levels, which are kids. So we've already made some courses, puberty courses, which we are now imparting in schools so that more and more kids can become aware of their sexual health and can actually become responsible citizens going forward.